They want you to feel like a ghost in your own land. They want you to think that your heritage is problematic. Look at this symbol here, the Mjolnir. Did you know that it's listed as a symbol of right-wing extremism? How crazy is that? But this shaming of our European ancestry, and especially our Norse or Viking ancestry, it goes into everything now. But have you asked yourself, why is it like that? Why are they trying to shame us for this? A part of our cultural heritage. Why? I believe it's because the system, or the powers that be, they know that a man or a woman who has strong roots cannot easily be controlled. A person with strong roots is sovereign, and they don't want that. The system, or modern society, the powers that be, this so-called thing out there, they don't want you independent, and they don't want you to be proud of your heritage. They want you back in your box, and they want you obedient. Today we will be talking about how you can use that heritage to stay free in a world that wants you back in that cage. And because so many of you have Viking ancestry, whether you're in the USA, Canada, Australia, the UK, or here in Scandinavia, I will be talking mostly from the viewpoint of someone with a Norse or Viking heritage, but this applies to everyone because it's about those roots, that heritage. So whether you're Native American, whether you have Slavic heritage or whatever it is, this applies. I think this is about fear, namely fear of the Viking spirit, if you will, or the Viking values. The system, the powers that be, they know that those values are in direct opposition to, sorry, there's a pine needle in my drink here. The system wants you obedient. That's the most important thing. They don't want you to be a sovereign human being. They don't want you to live by, let's call it the Viking code, because that's in opposition to being obedient. The Viking code is all about being your own man, you know, being independent, being someone who will fend for himself and his family. Now I talk about these values quite a lot because I think they are important. We can look back into our history, and we should, and learn from that. Now we have a society, a modern society now, moving us towards feudalism. Some people call it feudalism 2.0, some people call it whatever. But it's looking more and more like feudalism. You're not supposed to own anything, and also your movements are monitored and controlled and limited. 15-minute cities and all of that. It's starting to look a lot like medieval feudalism in many ways. Viking values go against that, and the system, they know that very well, and they fear those Viking values. They don't want you to be connected to your roots. They want those roots to be cut clean off. But what happens to a tree if you cut its roots, it falls over. And by the way, my name is Bjorn. I'm a historical novelist. I live here in Norway, and I am obsessed with the Viking Age and history in general, I would say. They want obedient consumers. They don't want people who can think for themselves. Just look at the education system. It's not about making kids able to think for themselves. It's about making them into, shaping them into obedient citizens, people who can just function as cogs in the machinery. They want you domesticated. They want you, what's the word? Docile. And it's so sad to see when people fall into that trap and they just sit there scrolling on their smartphone, eating crap, not fully living, adopting a nihilist attitude to life. I think that's so sad, especially when we're talking about young people. In one of my videos I talk about drengskaper, the Viking path. It's all about personal sovereignty and independence. And we can all tap into that. I believe it's in our DNA. And it goes against almost everything in this so-called modern world. So how do we connect with that Viking spirit within us? How do we connect with our heritage? I know a lot of you've been writing in the comments that, it's not so easy. I live in a city, I can't get out in nature, and, I have mixed heritage and all of that. So, yes, I hear you. I still believe that it's not so difficult, actually. First, we must reclaim our symbols. I showed you my mjølner. I have several actually, and they're not a fashion statement. Also, I believe it's our duty to educate ourselves on our cultural heritage. If you haven't already, start reading. I know lots of people feel that reading is boring, but it really isn't when you get into it. Read the sagas. Look into your family tree. You might be able to trace it hundreds of years back. Don't let these people tell you that taking pride in your ancestry, especially if you have Viking ancestry, that it's toxic. Don't let them tell you that it's wrong. It's who we are. It's about belonging. And I believe that people who have no roots, they very easily get depressed, and maybe also they start struggling with things like anxiety. Having strong roots is such a quality. It makes life easier. Now, before I continue, may I introduce the sponsor of this video, which is Odin Wolf, and they make some really good knives actually. And I have some of them here. This is the neck knife. It comes with a scraper and a small ferro rod, and it actually works. They also have I have this one here, the belt knife, and this is the big one. Yeah, they call it machete. I call it this. This is a sax, and I can tell you a lot of attention to detail has gone into the design here. Many of you have told me that you are looking for some reasonably priced bushcraft and survival knives, and they are really good. Check out the link in the description, and there's a 10% discount for you if you use that link. And let's face it, a lot of this that I'm talking about here, it all boils down to one word actually: freedom. It's all about freedom. And if you want to be free, you must decrease your dependence on the system. And you can't do that all at once. You need to do it step by step. Learn skills, something maybe that you can do with your own hands. Build something. It's also very good for the mind. Maybe you should start to grow your own food. Every skill you learn, it's a step away from the system. And every little potato that you grow is one step further away from that system that wants you back in that cage. So step by step, day by day, we can become more self-reliant and less dependent on that system. You will face resistance. You will be called things like, I don't know, if you have a couple of months food in your basement, people might want to call you a doomsday prepper, but that's just silly. It's just so stupid. I mean, they won't laugh at you when the next crisis hits. I can tell you that. Build a tribe. Get some friends together. Do something together. Like for men, we like to do some kind of activity, like building something, getting together with other men, building something, hiking, hunting, fishing, whatever it is. Maybe you're into cars, and I know nothing about cars, but restoring old cars or whatever. Get some people together. Be that person who picks up the phone and calls some guys, let's get together and do something. That's how you build your tribe. If you have a family, if you have a wife and kids or a girlfriend, that's your tribe. Do something together with your family. I see it in the comments every day. That stirring in the blood of people from the USA, Canada, the UK, Scandinavia, all of Europe, they feel that calling, if I can use that expression, that calling towards the Viking spirit. And at the same time, we live in this so-called modern world who wants to shame us for that. And the system, the powers that be, they want you to be detached from your roots, as I said. But don't let them. Don't let them. And the next time, by the way, one of these, I just call them, the blue hair nose ring people. The next time they want to provoke you, they want to shame you, just leave it. That's what I would say. Just leave it, and instead concentrate on building that sovereignty, that independent life for yourself and your tribe. We are most likely facing a dark winter, right? That's what it looks like. And things are going to get, sadly, I think, a lot worse before they get better. So we need our survival skills, and we need our roots. and we need to know who we are and where we come from. We are the survivors here. I mean, our ancestors, they survived wars, famines, and the Vikings, they sailed across the North Sea, you know. So we are the survivors. It's in our DNA. I'll see you in the next video. I will be uploading, well, I try to upload at least once a week. Saturdays, sometimes in the middle of the week as well. And until then, have a wonderful time. And as we say here in Norway, skål.